our attention. Your turn.
Good afternoon, class. I'm your teacher, Mr. Antilia, and today we are going to be talking about Florida. I am joined by three guest speakers, Michael Allen, Alexis Ambrico, and Christina Barnett. First, a few trivial things about Florida. It is the 27th state of the Union. Our nickname is the Sunshine State. Our motto is In God We Trust. Our state flower is the orange blossom. Our state bird is the mockingbird. And our state song is Swanee River. Here you see the flag and the seal of Florida. The earliest known inhabitants were in Florida around 12,000 years ago, and they were the Paleo-Indians. After 500 BCE, the relatively uniform culture broke off into distinct cultures. In the 16th century, the major Native American groups included the Appalachian, which were in the Panhandle, the Timucua were in North and Central Florida, the Ais were in the Central Atlantic coast, the Tocobaga were in the Tampa Bay area, the Calusa were in Southwest Florida, and the Tequesta were in the Southeast coast. The first recorded Europeans that were found in Florida were Juan Ponce de Leon and his crew in 1513. He is credited with naming Florida after the Easter time celebration Pascua Florida, the Feast of Flowers. After another voyage in 1521, Florida became a desirable place for explorers, treasure hunters, and the like. Hernando De Soto, in 1539, traveled for 4 years around Florida searching for gold and silver. He died near what is now the Mississippi River in 1542. Tristan de Luna y Arellano made a settlement at Pensacola Bay in 1559, but due to mishaps, it was abandoned 2 years later. In 1562, the Frenchman Jean Ribault explored the area. In 1564, René Guillaume de Laudonnière established Fort Caroline at the mouth of the St. Johns River. These French explorers pushed Spain to colonize Florida. Pedro Menendez de Aviles established the first permanent European settlement at San Agustin in 1565. He later captured Fort Caroline and renamed it San Mateo. While both the French and the English had conflicts with the Spanish settlers, by 1600, Spain's power over Florida was unquestioned. It was absolute. However, over the next 100 or more years, England created several colonies and attacked Spanish Florida several times. After the 7 Years' War, Britain acquired Florida, exchanging control of Florida for Havana, Cuba, which they had captured during the war. During British rule, Britain split Florida into the east and the west, with their capitals at St. Augustine and Pensacola. Both Floridas remained loyal to the British Crown during the Revolutionary War, and after Pensacola was captured by the Spanish army, Spain was granted control of Florida in the peace treaty that ended the war in 1784. After years of the two Floridas becoming more American, Spain ceded Florida to the United States in 1821. The history is a U.S. territory. In 1824, the two Floridas were once again made into one with the capital moved to Tallahassee. On March 3rd, 1845, Florida officially became the 27th state. During the Civil War, Florida was not ravaged as several other southern states were. Indeed, no decisive battles were truly fought on Floridian soil. While Union forces occupied many of the towns, the interior of the state remained firmly in Confederate control. The growth of Florida's transportation really began in 1855, where the state legislature passed the Internal Improvement Act, which gave cheap and free land to investors, especially those that were interested in transportation. During this period, many railroads were constructed throughout the state by companies owning land, owned by Henry Flagler and Henry Plant, who also built lavish hotels near their railroad lines. Henry Flagler also went on to make Flagler College and really made St. Augustine a wonderful place. In the 1870s, residents from the northern states visited Florida as tourists, and they loved our climate, our beaches, our nature, everything. And about this time, steamboat tours really took off as a popular attraction for the tourists. By the turn of the century, our population and per capita wealth were increasing rapidly. The potential of the Sunshine State was endless. And during the 1900s and after the tumultuous time that was the Great Depression, Florida has flourished into the diverse population and well-known state it is today. I would like to introduce our next speaker, Michael L., who will be talking about our
Florida's environment is what brings people to Florida to live or to visit. Florida is one of the most visited states in the world. The big reason why is the weather. A lot of people come here to Florida during the wintertime to get away from the cold and the snow, to come to Florida's mild winters. The average annual temperatures in Florida in the North Florida in the wintertime is around 53 degrees. And the average annual temperature in South Florida is around 68 degrees in wintertime, so it doesn't get too cold. The average annual temperature in the summertime is around 80 degrees. The average annual temperature for South Florida is around 82 degrees in the summertime, so it doesn't get too hot. Florida covers around 58,000 square miles of area and around 4,000 square miles of water. Ranked among states in total area, Florida is ranked 22nd. Florida has over 1,300 miles of coastline, which is the second longest coastline in the United States, right behind Alaska. We also have 800 miles of beaches, which is another reason why a lot of people come to Florida to visit our beautiful beaches. Florida has more than 11,000 miles of rivers. St. John's River being the longest river in Florida, stretching 273 miles long. Florida has about 7,700 lakes, which are actually greater than 10 acres. Lake Okeechobee being the largest lake in Florida at 700 square miles. Lake Okeechobee is also the second largest freshwater lake in the United States. If you're into outdoors, Florida offers some great activities, from snorkeling to surfing, boating, sailing, kayaking, wakeboarding, and kneeboarding. Florida offers great fishing, from saltwater fishing to freshwater fishing. Some of the great saltwater fish is marlin, sailfish, cobia, shark, sea trout, grouper, and snapper. Some of the popular freshwater fish, crappie, bluegill, the catfish, largemouth bass, sunfish, and tilapia. The Florida marine mammal is the manatee. Christopher, Florida, where I was actually born and raised, is the only place in North America where it's actually legal to have supervised swims with a manatee. Our saltwater mammal is the dolphin. Largemouth bass is our freshwater fish, and the sailfish is Florida's saltwater fish. Florida's state reptile is the alligator. In the Florida Everglades is the only place where alligators and crocodiles actually coexist. Florida has 3 national forests and has 34 state forests. The first one is Apalachicola National Forest, and it's Florida's largest national forest, and it's home to a large population of endangered woodpeckers, the red-cockaded woodpeckers. The next one is the Osceola National Forest, and it is the smallest out of the 3 national forests, and it's home to a large population of bald eagles. The next one is Ocala National Forest. It's the oldest and the southern forest in the continental United States, and it is home to a large population of black bears and endangered Florida scrub jay. These national forests start in central Florida, and it goes all the way to the Panhandle. It's 1.2 million acres of just land and wildlife. 2.7 million visitors come annually to visit these national parks, where they enjoy camping, kayaking, swimming in the springs, horseback riding, hunting, and fishing. These national forests also offers the biggest or the largest off-road trailing system in the region for ATVs and Jeeps. So if you love the outdoors, Florida's a great place to go from land and water. Some of our natural resources, some of my favorites, oranges, seafood, and definitely spring water. Lex is going to come up and talk to you guys about some of the entertainment that we offer here in Florida.
Though the nature and stuff is cool about Florida, everyone really comes because of all the entertainment that we have here. We have Disney World, which is known as the happiest place on earth, and it's my favorite theme park. It's $89 per person, which is pretty expensive, but I think it's worth it because it has 6 parks, and it's great for families. It has the Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach, Epcot, and MGM, which is now Hollywood Studios. It has a lot of like family-oriented rides instead of like roller coasters, like Universal does. Universal is $199 for both parks, which is Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, and it's $88 just for one park. I have been to Islands of Adventure, and I think that Universal Studios is a lot better because Islands of Adventure only has like 3 or 4 rides. It's not that cool, but it's mainly for people who like roller coasters and stuff, which isn't really me. And it also has Halloween Horror Nights, which is really fun. This year, and it has City Walk, which is for like people who like nightlife and stuff like that. You can go and dance and do things. Busch Gardens is the cheapest of the 3 of them. It's only $85, and it has really like mainly roller coasters, so it's for people who like thrill and stuff like that. And you can also go on safari. And you can like feed giraffes. Heather went and did that, and it seems really cool. But I went when I was a baby. It's cool. And if it's too hot in the summer and you want to go and enjoy something besides going to the beach, you can go to Wet n Wild, which is really fun. It's also pretty cheap. It's only $35, and anyone can go. And people bring their families there all the time, and they have a lot of rides. And it's just really great it's like a cheap thing to do in the summer when you really don't have anything else to do with your family or your friends or whatever, and you don't want to spend $89 at Disney to go to Typhoon Lagoon or whatever, which I really like. And we're also known for our space thing. Kennedy Space Center is really cool. It's in Cape Canaveral, and you can simulate a like launch thing. It's like basically like you're riding in the shuttle to the moon, which is really cool. And you can watch the IMAX theater, which is the astronaut encounter, and see the rocket garden, which has all the rockets that we've launched in the past years. And I think that's really awesome. People come to see our space and stuff because nowhere else really has NASA except Florida. And Gatorland, you can go to Gatorland, which is only $25, and you can zip line, wrestle an alligator, and see different species of alligators. And you can even feed them. And these are just like cheap alternatives that we can do here that instead of spending a lot of money at other parks. You can also go to St. Augustine, which is our home to Castillo de San Marcos, which is the fort there that a lot of people go for. You can go through trolley rides, which show you around the town and stuff, and it's really cute. And there's ghost tours, which is really fun. I don't know if I do. The fort is what we learn in like history books and stuff, so it's really cool to go and actually visit it. And I think it's the only fort in Florida, so that's really cool. And though there are great things about Florida, there's also things that people don't like. So Christina's going to they talked about all the good things in Florida, but there's also a lot of bad things that happen in Florida. The humidity is one of them. There's bugs, the bipolar weather, and then there's lots of people. The humidity, like, it's really hot here. Like, I think that there's no seasons because I'm from New York, so coming from like snow and then coming from where it's just really hot, it's really bad. It causes mold in like schools and houses and stuff, and allergic mold. So it's just, there's bugs, love bugs. Everybody gets love bugs. there's palmetto bugs, and then there's water bugs. Like, they really scared me. The bipolar weather. 1 minute it could be raining, and the next minute it can be really sunny. Like, I don't understand. I've never seen that before until I moved here. And then when we had that week where it was like hot 2 days, like really hot, like 80 degrees, and then it was like 60 in the 50s, and I was like, this is very weird. And then the old people, there's just a lot of them. Like, my teacher, my juvenile delinquency teacher, he says that it's the retirement state. Like, you just come here when you retire, and you just drink beer, and you sit on the beach and you drink. And honestly, I think that's true, because I like seeing old people. Like, I mean, there's young people, but my neighborhood, it's all there's like little kids, they're like 5 and 6 maybe, but they're just all old. And then the hurricanes. I've never actually been in one, but they cause a lot of damage. Because, like, the damage in the Keys, and then and then the jellyfish. In 2011, in Central Florida, there was 400 stung by jellyfish, and they were just washed up onto the sand, and a lot of people got stung by it. I got a video for you.
Swarms of jellyfish. I'm told that it's called a smack of jellyfish, a big group of jellyfish, and that is backed up here. I just checked it out, so there's a new word for you today. But they invaded a popular spot in the Sunshine State on the big holiday weekend. As many as 1,000 swimmers were stung at Florida's famous Cocoa Beach, making for one miserable and somewhat painful Memorial Day for a lot of those folks. Steve Gelbach of Fox affiliate WOFL has more on this.
The purple flag is flying, but it might as well be red, the color of the mauve jellyfish piled up along Cocoa Beach.
Seems like a little needle to you.
The swarm is so thick, anyone brave enough to wade in will most likely get stung. Have you ever seen it like this?
Never. This is brand new.
The little 2-inch mauve jellyfish pack a painful punch.
It's like a steam. Yeah, it's like steam.
Brevard County lifeguards treated 600 swimmers Saturday and 400 Sunday, but don't expect that many today.
We drove all the way down from Louisville, so we were kind of excited.
Hundreds flocked to the sand for the holiday weekend, but that's as far as most will go, reluctant to even stick their toes in the surf.
We're planning on getting out in the water and cool off, but
Not now.
no, we'll just have to look at it.
If you get stung, remove the tentacles, and the key is not to get it wet, but to rinse it off with white vinegar. All these lifeguard towers and stands up and down the beach come fully stocked. Some prepared tourists even brought their own. Amanda Clark's daughter and nephew both got stung on their feet.
As I was looking him up, he was yelling, owie, 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 and she's sitting on the other side screaming that she got stung, but it's just a couple. She'll be all right.
Lifeguards say this is the easiest job they've had on a busy holiday weekend. With everyone stuck on the beach, they don't expect any water rescues, just treating stings and reminding people to step and swim carefully and at their own risk.
Owie, owie, owie. Yeah, that's not a good situation. Our thanks to Steve Gelbach of Fox's affiliate WOFL.
The traffic. I was in Miami for spring break, and I stayed in the same spot for 2 hours. We didn't move at all. Orlando traffic is really bad also, but in Melbourne it only gets bad around like when you get out of your jobs, like 5 o'clock-ish, but you're not there sitting in the same spot for 2 hours. Like I was in Miami, it was really bad. Alligators. They talked about, like, you go to Gatorland, you can wrestle an alligator, but these 2 people, they got bit by them. Caleb Langsdale, he got his arm bitten off by an alligator when he was swimming in the lake or the river. And they said that even after like he got his whole arm bitten off, like before surgery, he was happy and he was talking to his aunt and he wanted his aunt to take a picture of his arm and put it on Facebook just to tell everybody that he was okay. I'm like, oh, okay, but his friends said that like he's used to like being in the river and like with alligators and stuff. So I got a video of it also.
The gator was coming after him on top of the water as fast as he could pedal. His tail was wagging back and forth. He was coming.
An alligator takes a Florida teenager's arm, but his friends give 17-year-old Caleb Fred Langdale credit for saving his own life. The alligator attacked Langdale while he was swimming in the Caloosahatchee River in southwest Florida on Monday.
He's been around alligators all his life. He's smart enough. He knows if he offers him his arm, he won't take his torso, so he was smart.
Langdale was pulled from the water and rushed to a Fort Myers hospital, missing his right arm from the elbow down. Wildlife officials say the 11-foot alligator was caught and killed Monday evening with the arm still inside. It couldn't be reattached. Officials say alligator attacks aren't surprising this time of year.
Just after mating season, the eggs are already laid, but the alligators are still very active. Any type of commotion in the water is potential food in their eyes.
Friends expect Langdale to be back in the water as soon as he can swim again. Tim McGuire, the Associated Press.
And then while Wallace Leatherwood, he was feeding an alligator when he was doing like this tour, and they were showing like he was showing everybody the alligators, and he was like literally feeding it with his hand, and the alligator bit his hand off. But after he went to the hospital and they found the alligator and they opened him up and they got his arm back. I don't think he got it put back on his arm because the whole you can't really after the thing is anyways. After that he got arrested and he went to jail for feeding the alligator because you're not supposed to feed them. So it was a misdemeanor, but he still had to pay a whole fine, and I just don't understand. I think that was paid enough for getting his arm cut off, but yeah, he had to pay money. And then the only one I could find was in 2011, and it says one index crime is every 41 seconds, one violent crime is every 5 minutes, one property crime is every 47 seconds, one murder is every 8 hours and 54 minutes, one sex offense is every 53 minutes, and one rape is every hour and 40 minutes. One robbery is every 21 minutes, every aggravated assault is every 9 minutes, every burglary is every 3 minutes, and one larceny every 1 minute. And then a motor vehicle with death is 13 minutes. And this was in 2011 for Florida. The line. She talked about going to Universal Studios and Wet n Wild and Busch Gardens, but do you like standing in lines for hours? And especially since it's really hot in the summer, like you're standing in the line for like an hour just waiting to get on one ride. I didn't think so. And then the floods. This guy, him and his wife, they evacuated before the flood came. Flood Debbie when it did come through. He evacuated his home, but he came back to get his belongings. But I don't understand why he would come back when everything would be ruined by the water. And then, yeah, like I don't think it's pleasant to be like your car gets ruined in New York when they had the floods and everything. Because I have family in New York. My grandfather, his car got ruined because he lives on the beach, so it took away his car. Basically, he had to get a new one, and the insurance paid for some of it, but he still had to pay for most of his car. Yeah, and there's a video.
Actually getting a little bit better out here as well. And we've seen the floodwaters recede. You can see the seaweed line here on Bay Shore, where the water was, even as close as 15 minutes ago. So this is good news, especially if this is road that you travel. But Tampa believes they still had to close between Rome Avenue and Swan because you do not want to drive through this. You got a combination of the flood water, fresh water for the rain, and a combination of the waves being kicked up by the wind and that high tide that we had this morning. But for a lot of people taking a look, a lot of drivers trying to get through the area because, this is something that they haven't seen to this magnitude
we've been here 5 years, we've never seen something like this. We've heard of it, but we've never seen Bay Shore flooded. We were hoping to see some kayakers, but we haven't seen any.
I think it's awesome, and I'm rocking it all day long.
I've seen this way before. It's kind of like this in 2005. People get out here, try to drive through with their cars, and it's not going to work.
Now, the part of your commute, go ahead and plan on this part of the road being closed for the rest of the day today. I think it's going to take some time for the water to go. And I just want to say something else too. Talking with police, they've been trying to keep people and their animals out of the water because it is not sanitary, not safe. So again, if you have kids, you're an adult even, stay out of the flood water because it's just not safe.
And well, that's it. But I wish that we all told you like the history, we told you the environment, we told you the amusement parks, but then we also told you that stuff about what happens in Florida. So you decide if you want to live here all your life, the rest of your life. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, class. I expect a paper on my desk Monday on one of the subjects we talked about. Thank you very much. Have a great